My father is a healthy strong man past and seen in their long life much that evening returned with work at 3 o'clock in the morning. I did not recognize him when he crossed the threshold of the apartment pale as a toadstool. His hands are slightly trembled when he tried to take off his shoes, and anxiety was red on his face, and I would even said fear I wouldn't be surprised to see him in this state letok 7 ago when he just settled for a pretty specific job. He works in our city crematorium, and during this time I have seen enough from the very different and let's say so used to tears and burning people. Often at the very beginning he came home himself almost crying, and then for knocking over a glass of vodka at the table, told how he cremated a child, told how relatives behaved in funeral hall, described their faces, gazes to nowhere and eyes lowered to the floor, and who have probably cried all the tears on years ahead. He suffered loss along with relatives of the deceased. And most of all, I was afraid to look into a special viewing room window. Is a huge stove that actually, and the coffin blazed with the dead, but a man, as usual, is capable of get used to absolutely any conditions, life and work, and my dad did not become an exception, and the cremation of people has become for it's a chore, like a cook to cook a dish in a restaurant or for a mechanic fix another car. I won't tell how and why got a job like this. I can only say that this is how the circumstances. He comes home in the middle of the night. I didn't sleep, that's why I found him in this able. Papa, what happened? He just glanced at me and finally took off his sneakers, silently went on the kitchen. Is okay, he muttered under his breath. Everything is fine, it happens. Well, I don't look like a fool, that there are some problems at work. Father, realizing that it is not possible to deceive me, turned out, answered, I don't even know if that's what it's called, took a bottle of vodka from the refrigerator and pouring a full glass, drank it in one fell swoop, sniffing after sleeve. I want to say that he drank after work in recent years is extremely rare, since in the early days, of which I said earlier, my mother and I knew that if he comes home grabs for bottles something is wrong. Just as she woke up then, as if felt that something was wrong, late sleepy, she grunted and went into kitchen, say something, but he didn't know where to start. His eyes ran in different hand while tongue tangled. Mom, I woke up and saw my father in this able, noticeably nervous, because what is wrong with you? But you have no face at all, and only noticing the bottle on the table. Mom finally realized that it was they who were to blame the most problems at work. But after listening to everything, what did he go through today? It turned out problems at work is very, very mildly further from his words. An aunt came to visit us today. She made an appointment by phone as expected, and today she appeared himself. Director said yes, and I'm not particularly interested. Beautiful young girl, so still live, yes, to live to raise children, but apparently not fate her mother well. This girl. A little later I found it all a bit odd. Hurried us, asked how you can speed up the whole process. We explained to her that as soon as all paperwork is resolved, so let's get my business out at all on. Push the button to the temperature regulate. What I can explain to her, I don't decide anything here, but she's straight. Hurry. So this very second burn the dead girl. I had nothing left but explain to a woman that I'm just a private driver and I don't even decide anything to pay money, but I kind of a stable salary is much more expensive one time bonus. Well, I'm not in any. Refused once, refused a second, and on the third she looked at me. So I don't on my own has become an honest word. Asked his mother. Yes. I don't even know how to explain it, like it's like I'm all over her fucked up life. Turned around and left, the door slammed again so that a little luminary did not fly off. Standing seeing her off with her eyes and peripheral vision, I look at Ivanovich. Ivanovich is a colleague of my father, and he only twists his finger at whisk and you staggering door staring. Well, actually on this meeting with this not very pleasant, the lady ended, and we continued our work, and a little later when we already managed to forget about her came to us. Vladimir Yurievich, our director, says they say all the papers were settled by the evening. They will bring the body of the girl. Well, they will bring it. Okay, let them take it. And how the farewell funeral will be? No, suddenly asked Ivanik. Music, I answered and pressed the button on the remote by sending another dead man into the furnace. As and said the chief brought in the evening a coffin with a coffin girl. Is of course it was difficult to name the simplest wooden box riveted as if with remnants of a board stolen somewhere on sawmill. Well, okay, in 7 years it's not like that to see. Had to. Not all people can afford burn a dead man in beautiful expensive boxes. It will burn anyway, what's the point? Wasted. Well, the body was brought while I stand and I feel that already waking from the coffin a little. But we generally have it all must be checked well, you never know there is another person there. I unloaded the coffin to him and he was boarded up tightly nailed. You excuse me, of course, I turned to woman, but I have to check. I need hide the coffin, and without this such rules you never know there is another person. Lies. You can say goodbye to your daughter for now.